Overnight, adding fuel to the impeachment fire. New evidence from House Democrats reveals messages between an aide to the top Republican on the Intelligence Committee and Rudy Giuliani associate Lev Parnas. At issue, military aid to Ukraine and setting up interviews with former Ukrainian prosecutors. The newly released documents also appear to show possible surveillance of Marie Yovanovitch, the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Also in the document dump, pictures of Parnas with the president, his children, and his closest advisors. All part of a new trove of materials sent with the articles of impeachment to the Senate. Before the trial begins, a weekend getaway in Florida. But the cloud of impeachment hovers even over celebrations.
This is an exciting day in the White House.
Friday, football's college champs brought him a jersey, while the president wore his troubles on his sleeve.
A lot of presidents, some good, some not so good. But you got a good one now, even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that?
Tuesday, the president will put his newest legal team on the field, including a head-turning flashback to the Clinton impeachment. Ken Starr, who then served as independent counsel. Quite a change of heart after this 1999 Donald Trump interview.
I think Ken Starr is a lunatic. I really think that Ken Starr is a disaster.
Adding Starr puzzles some Democrats.
That's their choice, but it's a weird choice.
Next, Harvard's Alan Dershowitz, who insisted Friday he will only play a small part.
I'm not a full-fledged member of his legal team in the sense that I have a limited role. I will appear one day in the Senate.
There to make a constitutional argument against impeachment and removal.
Abuse of power, even if proved, is not an impeachable offense.
Starr and Dershowitz bring fame and unwanted baggage. Both previously defended convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And Dershowitz was sued last year by an Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre, who claims Dershowitz defamed her and was a participant in sex trafficking. Dershowitz denies those allegations. The president's Senate defense will be led by White House counsel Pat Cipollone and personal attorney Jay Sekulow, with additional lawyers and advisors, including former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi and another former independent counsel, Robert Ray.